So I think it's pretty safe to assume that you know this song. And you've probably heard this riff. And I'm sure you've heard this one. So in this lesson, we're going to explore the magic of sixths, which is the interval I was just playing in all of those songs. It's one of the most recorded techniques in all of guitar playing. My name's Jesse Glick. This is a 5-Minute Monday. Let's throw 5 minutes on the timer. So as always, I'm not going to get into the theory behind this technique. I'm just going to show you the shapes and how to make it sound good. Obviously, I think there's a time and place for theory with all sorts of music. But ultimately, as musicians, if we're playing something that sounds good, we're making music, and that's the ultimate goal. This guitar technique is called sixths, and what I'm doing is playing 2 strings at the same time up a scale to add harmony to otherwise a pretty boring sounding scale. So for this lesson, we're going to be in the key of E major the whole time, and I'm going to show you 3 different shapes of sixths that you can use to sound like a better guitar player and get hired for more gigs. So here we go. We're going to start with an E major chord. For the first round of sixths, I'm going to use the A string and the G string. And this is what the shapes look like. Again, I'm just showing you the shapes. So an easy way to find the shape on this set of strings is to take your E major chord, move it to the bar chord position on the 7th fret, and then we're going to move up to the major 3rd. So now that I have this shape, again, I'm on the A string and the G string, I can start moving it around. And again, that's where you find this song. All right, so let's move on to the next set of strings. Now we're gonna go to the D string and the B string. And for that, I'm gonna find my root note on the B string, which is the E here, because again, we're doing everything in E major. So I'll find my E, and then I'll go to the D string and move 1 fret up. And now I can start playing this shape. And one thing you'll notice once you get these shapes under your fingers is that the pattern changes no matter what string set you're on. So for example, if I go back to the first example of this one, I'm starting where my fingers are 2 frets apart, and then I'm going to where they're 1 fret apart, and then 1 fret apart, 2 frets apart, 2 frets apart, 1 fret apart. And now if we look at that second example here, I'm starting 1 fret apart, same fret, 1 fret apart, 1 fret apart, same fret, 1 fret apart. The amount of frets in between changes depending on your string set, but the pattern stays the same regardless of where you are. And now I'm gonna go to the final string set. So again, here's the E major. And this is what it's gonna look like. I'm using the G string and the high E string. Remember, on YouTube, you can always slow things down or speed them up if this is going too fast or too slow. So before we move on to the next part of the lesson, you should get all of those shapes comfortable under your fingers, and then I'll show you how to use them in more of a musical context. Okay, so now that we've got those shapes under our fingers, I'm first gonna show you how to use them with any key. So let's say we're in C major. Well, I do the same thing as I did for the E major bar chord here, but with C. I move to the major 3rd, and now I have that same shape. As musicians, we learn a lot of different styles and techniques to take our playing to the next level. I think it's important to note that any technique can be overused. So while this is important to learn, it's also important that you don't use it for every single song that you play. So now let's take a look at how we can use this in a musical context. All I did right there was take the shapes that I have memorized down from practicing this a bunch and just played them all over the neck where I knew that they would work. And it sounded pretty musical. So that's really it for this guitar lesson. It's pretty basic. Just get those shapes under your fingers and start messing around with them in different keys. And again, the most important thing that you can do is use your ear to figure out what sounds good. Don't worry about the theory behind it or why a certain note sounds good over a certain chord. That stuff is important to learn, but for now, as that intermediate guitar player that just kind of wants to kick into the next gear, just use your ear and figure out what sounds good. I'm doing these 5-minute Mondays every single Monday, and again, they are free. If you want to support my channel, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. Drop a comment if this lesson helped you or if I missed something that you know that I might not. Another thing you can do is follow me on Instagram, which is going to be right here. There I'll post a lot more guitar playing and just things from my daily life. But once again, my name is Jesse Glick. That was a 5-minute Monday, and I'll see you in the next one.